The numbers today are clearly disappointing. We want to see inflation coming down after the cost of living challenges that people have been through this last few years. Clearly we're in a different place to where we were under the previous government, where inflation got into double digits, but we recognise the cost of living is still a challenge, which is why we increased the national living wage, giving a pay rise to 3 million people in April. It's why we're rolling out free breakfast clubs at primary schools to help families with the cost of living, and it's why we froze fuel duty in the budget last year.
But this inflation spike is from costs that people are feeling directly in their pockets. Energy bills, water bills, tax bills, council tax bills. When are people actually going to feel some relief from this cost of living surge?
Well, for the last few months, wages have been rising at a faster level than prices. That is welcome, but I do absolutely get that the cost of living challenges are still the biggest concern that families up and down our country have, which is why we are taking action with the national living wage, with free breakfast clubs, with freezing fuel duty, because I am determined as Chancellor of the Exchequer to help relieve some of that pressure that families have been facing.
I'd like to ask you about this European deal you've done this week. Brexit, some calculations, pushed up food prices 6% or more. Are people going to actually see food prices start to fall because they've risen again in April?
Well, I'm at wholesalers here in West London today, where fruit and veg goes to restaurants, hospitals, cafes, wholesalers all around the country. And what the people here are telling me is that prices have absolutely gone up because of the bureaucracy, but also sometimes when stuff arrives, it's already gone rotten because it's been waiting at the border for so long. And certainly businesses here are telling me that the Brexit deal that the previous government secured was not good enough, and they welcome the achievement this week in getting this new trade deal with our nearest neighbours and trading partners in the EU, and that should begin to reduce costs of businesses, which can then be passed on to consumers, and that will be very welcome. The whole point of these trade deals, whether it's with the US, with India, or indeed with the EU, is about bringing down the costs of people, bringing more good jobs to Britain, and also securing our defences.
There's a big jump in April. April's figures don't reflect what also happened in April is your policy choices, national insurance increases, which businesses up and down the country and here repeatedly tell us are probably going to drive up costs further. Do you acknowledge your policy choices could add to the inflationary burden, the price pressures on households?
When I became Chancellor last year, I faced a very difficult challenge that there was a £22 billion black hole in the public finances. We had to fix that, and if we hadn't have done, the Bank of England would not have been able to cut interest rates 4 times this last year, which has obviously had a direct effect on the mortgages and the rents that people pay, and also that money that we raised from national insurance, but also cracking down on non-dom tax, VAT on private schools, increasing capital gains, particularly on private equity firms. That money has gone into our National Health Service, which is why waiting lists and waiting times are going down after spiralling out of control the last few years. So I do recognise that all policies have consequences, but if I hadn't have acted to stabilise the public finances, we would be in a worse position today.
The last one. Lots of pressure you've been facing politically and as a party and at the ballot box over the winter fuel decision you made to fix that, quote, black hole. The Prime Minister hasn't ruled out when asked about reversing that decision. Are you willing to think again about the winter fuel cut?
I do recognise the challenges that people continue to face with the cost of living. We have increased the basic state pension and new state pension by up to £470 just last month. That's a policy that the Conservative Party no longer commit to, but the Labour Party, this Labour government, absolutely recognise that we need to continue increasing the pensions that people are paid. So I do recognise the challenges that people face, but that policy stands because it was necessary to stabilise the public finances.